We're running increased health and magic food, which is, where is it? Yeah, using this. There are other versions of it. You can run Witch Mother's Potent Brew if you want. Personally, it doesn't really matter. You're still going to have quite high max magicka, max health. I prefer this one, to be totally honest with you, but it's entirely preference. Right, so getting into skills. Same as always, front bar concealed weapon. Main reason for this is that while it's slotted, you're going to get the 25% boost to speed when you are in sneak or invisible. I'm pretty sure this is the shadow tree, yep, right there. We've then got mage light, well, inner light, which you'll find in the mage's guild skill tree right there. We've morphed it the one that gives you more max magicka. You want to make sure that when you get this, you also want to have some of these points in here that, I mean, a lot of them don't matter, and power doesn't really matter. Even increase the duration abilities. I would say get the reduced cost of magicka, 15%. Magical controller, that is the main one. I know it's only 2%, but trust me, 2% makes a lot when you're like running like 42k magicka builds. Like it adds up. So yeah. Next one is in the shadow tree. Pretty obvious, shadowy disguise. That's just standard for pretty much every bomber. We've got sap essence in the siphoning skill tree. Then again, exact same, gives you increased spell damage. That's going to be like our main spammable for this. You only ever really use concealed weapon when you're in 1v1 situations. Sap essence is great for keeping people out of stealth, stuff like that, but yeah. This is for the Onslaught bombing, what I'm going to show you. Next one is Camouflage Hunter. I don't know if it's changing next patch or not, so I'm just going to tell you. This is in the Fighters Guild skill tree. It's originally Expert Hunter. You want to try and have this on your front bar, because as you'll see at the very bottom here, you gain Minor Berserk for 5 seconds after you deal critical damage from an enemy's flank, which increases your damage done by 8%. So whenever you go in to do an Onslaught bomb, a Tether bomb, mass majority of the time, say if you do it on a flag, you do it on a door, or even when people are moving like towards a point, not everybody's going to be looking your way. Some of them might be a little bit in front of you, a little bit behind you. You are for the most part going to have this proc. So utilise it. Seriously, that 8% is a lot of damage. Like, you can't knock it. I mean, you don't have to run it if you don't want to. It's up to you. Onslaught. This is getting changed next patch, I've already been told. So basically what you would do with Onslaught is, like say when you're going in, you'd end up proxying up. And then you would hit Onslaught just before the bomb's about to proc. So the main thing for this, I mean, some of you are probably thinking, well, it's a stamina ability. Well, no. It's in a skill tree which is based for stamina, which is the two-handed skill tree. But ultimate scale off your max resource. So, I mean, yes, we're dealing 17,000 physical damage. You're probably thinking, well, why is this even applied to me? So, it's the bottom bit. This attack ignores the target's resistances and grants you the physical and spell penetration for your direct damage attacks, which ignores equal to the amount ignored from the initial target for 12 seconds. So let's say if you're about to go bomb somebody and you happen to choose a tank that you hit this with. That tank's got, I don't know, 40k into their resistances, which, to be honest, a lot of them do, especially if they're Templar tanks. You hit them with that, that means everybody around that person is now on top of whatever like spell pen you've already got. I mean, I think this build's about maybe 14k. So on top of that 14k spell you've already got, you're then going to get another 40k, which means you're going to be hitting like 54k spell penetration, which is literally, it's disgusting. It shouldn't be allowed. And I have a feeling that's probably why it's changing next patch. But yes, utilise this when you can. You can seriously wipe out a lot of people. I've got a couple of clips at the end. I've only just started trying it, but it's quite good. It's quite fun. So, back bar, we've got proximity detonation. You'll find this in the assault skill tree. It's more for magic detonation. This is your bomb. You need to have this. It looks cool as fuck when you do it. Just, yeah. You've got to have that on. Next again, channel acceleration. This is going to be in the Sigil order. It's the morph of accelerate. You would choose this morph specifically because although it adds a cast time, you get major expedition for 12 seconds. Okay, remember that, that's important because what we used to do is we used to use retreat and maneuver. However, this has been nerfed so that your movement speed is only increased for 8 seconds. Okay? And this is going to be for 12. So this not only helps you get in there and do the bomb, but it also gives you a little bit extra speed if you want to be able to get out in time. So, and of course, as I was saying earlier, the critical damage is increased by 10%, so take advantage of it. The next one is Deep Thoughts. This is more for meditate. I use this specifically to just get back into the fight. Sometimes you'll go into a bomb, you'll kill a load of people, and then you need to get your resources back fast. I mean, it's pretty cool. Gets you what you need to do. While you are casting or channeling such order ability, you gain managed protection as well. So when you're in this form, all your damage taken is going to be like reduced by 30%. And to be honest, a lot of the time when I'm actually in this form, a lot of people will just run past you. Like they can bash you to get out, but I've got to be honest, about 80-90% of the time, like if there's just 1 or 2 people around us, they'll normally just run straight past and go for somebody else. But yeah. Of course, when you've got this slotted, you get a damage shield as soon as you block. That's nice to stack on top of your original damage shield, helps you mitigate a bit of damage while you're on a flag. You want to get them passives. I would say probably get this as well. It's when you continuously use a Sigil Order ability, you create a spell charge. Once it hits 5, it ends up going and shooting and hitting an enemy. It's not bad to have. Reduces the cost of your Sigil ability, again, not bad to have. You don't really have to have See the Unseen, but if you're wanting to get like different sets and that around Cyrodiil, may as well use it, why not? Okay. Unfortunately, the shields don't stack by having 2 of these on 1 bar. It would be nice if they would, and they would like double up, but no. Harness Magicka, you find that in the light armor skill tree. Again, this marked by Amulet. You've got all these skill points that you want to have in here, like all the passives here are very important. The spell penetration here, like that's 5k, you know what I mean? You need to have this, want to have all the points in there. I mean, even like because we are a 5-1-1 build, like we'll have one piece medium on the head for the monster set, body's light, and then the shoulder is heavy. So again, have just the first 3 in medium, and then the first 3 again in heavy. I've just got the 1 in Legend. I mean, you don't have to if you don't want to. It just reduces the cost of sneak. Up to you. Again, Soul Trap, that's hella, well, damaging this patch, but it's up to you. These ones don't really matter per se. Again, Vampire skill tree. I'd say you want to try and have all these. You don't have to have Blood Ritual necessarily unless you want to be a team player and get your other mates into that. After feeding, Savage feeding, nah, don't really need it. We're not going to be feeding on anybody. You need Supernatural Recovery. You definitely want to have this one because it just reduces the damage taken by 33% when you fall below 50% health. And then these 2, definitely Dark Stalker, though. I mean, it makes you go into stealth quite quick compared to everybody else. So, yeah. Fighters Guild. Again, like Slayer. Like, say if you have Camouflage Hunter on, you're going to get 3% damage to your weapon damage abilities. Banish the Wicked is very important, okay? Because say if, I don't know, you're up next to BRK, there's a field of zombies and all that type of shit. If you go there, start killing them, whatever, you're going to be getting 9 ultimate all the time for everyone you kill, which means your ulti generation is going to be through the roof. And then, yeah, I mean, you don't need skill tracker. some of these are up to you. These two are important. I've already went through the Mage's Guild, went through the Sigic Order. Undaunted, you definitely want to have these in here, both of them, because I mean that's a 6% increase on your resources as long as you're running 511. If you're only running light, which some people will just do for a glass cannon build, like it's only a 2% increase when you could have 6. So definitely have the skill points into there. Assault skill tree, retreating maneuver, that is our last skill. Don't have to have it this morph, it's totally up to you. It's just to get around the place a bit faster. I put all the points into here. Same with this support. I mean, to be honest, not using magic aid at the minute because I'm not really using any of these skills. Say if you wanted to have reveal and flare on and then just slot it every so often if there's an enemy nearby, you could. It gives you a little bit extra magic recovery. Don't have to. Combat medic I'd put on, and then definitely battle resurrection, because the amount of times you're going to get bashed trying to pick up teammates, you want to try and do it as quickly as possible. We are a Dark Elf. To be honest, I think Dark Elf's probably is the best thing for bombers. This is my own opinion. Mainly because you get the increased max magic and max stamina by 1,875. Some people are going to argue a toss and say, no, High Elf is better. High Elf used to be better. High Elf is no longer better. Okay? High Elf, you get 2,000 max magicka. Okay? Dark Elf, you get 1,875. And you also get 1,875 stamina. If you give up 125 magicka, you are gaining like nearly an extra 2k stamina. Seriously, like if you're doing the math, it is really worth it, because that just means it's almost an extra roll dodge for you. So yeah, you get the resistance to flame, 2,300 flame resistance. It's important in Cyrodiil. You're always going to have people running like fire blisters, stuff like that, and gain immunity to the burn status effect. That basically just cancels out being a vampire, except from the health recovery. And then the weapon and spell damage. We need as much damage as we can get. We are a very high damage build, very crap sustain, but let's say this is hands down, I would say, the best in-slot of the minute. Alchemy. The only one I would say it's really worth using, I would normally have snake blood in, but the most important is medicinal use. When using potions, the resultant effects last 30% longer. Okay? So that means if you're using the likes of, I don't know, maybe using a spell power pot, if you use that spell power pot, by the time your next one is up, your last one will just be ending. So try your best to get it into that. I could go into all these. There is little things that you can do that's going to help you. I mean, was it in provisioning? Yeah, adds a little bit extra time on your food, stuff like that. It's not as necessary. I would say alchemy is quite important to have on your bomber, but yeah. Went through this. Destruction, staff skill tree. We are running the elemental storm morph. Well, no, I lie. This is elemental storm. We are running Eye of the Storm morph. And want to have all the skill points in here. Pretty standard. Dual wield. When you run a dual wield, I'll show you why, because I've been switching between the two-hander and the dual wield at the minute. It depends, of course, if you're running Onslaught or not. If you're not running Onslaught, you're going to be running like say Soul Tether. It's up to you. You only really need I mean, say twin blade and blunt. I just have, say, this into here because, well, it just gives you a little bit extra damage, I suppose, by 15%. That's if you're using the attacks, like, but it's up to you. I'd just kind of leave these skill points in here in case I need to move them about and put them other places. Two-hand. Of course, I showed you Onslaught. You get the swords increase your damage by 6%. That's why we run a sword. You don't want to run the likes of an axe because we're not there to do physical bleed. You don't want to really run a mace. And I do run this follow-up because when you deal damage with a fully charged heavy attack, your next direct damage attack within 7 seconds deals an additional 10% damage. So sometimes when I've been running Onslaught, I have been hitting them with a heavy attack and then instantly going in for the Onslaught, which means my Onslaught damage is increased by an extra 10%, which when it's already hitting hard as fuck, it's worth it. And of course, forceful. It kind of irritates us when I see this, because a lot of people will always say about how oh, there's no point, like, it doesn't really matter what enchants you got in your glyphs and all that type of stuff. That's bullshit. It does matter, because if you're like me, you will light attack weave when you are using Sap Essence, which means you're more likely to have, say, your... I mean, what are we running on here? On my two-hander, I'm running an Infused, and I'm running an Oblivion enchant. So, if I can get that enchant to proc, it's going to mean somebody's going to die, hopefully, and it's going to blow up these neighbours. So yeah. So yeah, that's two-hander, Siphoning. Again, Soul Tether, it's quite good. Sap Essence is a need. You could run Siphon attacks if you want to get a bit of a heal and get resource recovery. You could switch this out for Mending. Want to have all of this in here. Like, literally, when it comes to all these skill trees, you want to make sure that you do have all the passives in. It just makes it a bit easier for you. Show you Disguise, Concealed Weapon, I've talked about. And then Assassination. Soul Harvest, it's a must. Lotus Fan again, I'd say have it on, and then all the passives in here. So, when I'm running an Onslaught bomb, the way my setup is like this, okay? So, on both bars, this is how I'd normally run it. I'll maybe put Soul Harvest on the back bar. Where is it? Default, there. So yeah, this is normally how I would run an Onslaught bomb. If I was running a Tether bomb, be pretty similar, to be totally honest, because the thing is, I don't really need a gap closer per se, because I mean, you can get quite far with this. I mean, let's say if I was just a proxy here, I mean, you can kind of see how far you can actually get before you go to Tether. Like, it is quite a far distance. But yeah, that's how I would run it for a Tether bomb. If I was running a Destro bomb, this is the only time where it really changes. And I would have Soul Harvest on the front bar, and I would have the Eye Store on the back bar. Instead of having Camouflage Hunter, I would change that to Lotus Fan, because the benefit of having Soul Harvest on your front bar is because, I mean, you'll proc your Eye of Flame on the back bar after you've used your ability, proc Eye of the Flame. You'd then go in for the bomb, you'd use your Lotus Fan, and then whatever enemy dies, look at the very bottom here, while slotted, any time you kill an enemy, this doesn't have to be a player, this can just be an enemy, you're going to gain 10 ultimate. So, I mean, if I go down to the Fighters Guild, what I was saying earlier, undead. Say if you go and kill a load of undead, and you've got this on your front bar, you get 19 ultimate per kill, not including, if you're doing a light attack first, you're also going to have your ultimate slowly gain up. So you can almost get like maybe 30 or 40 ultimate per enemy you kill. Okay. So that's how I run both my setups. You don't have to run them this way, this is just how I run them. Okay? So, champion points. A lot of this is very standard. My champion points don't tend to change too much. I'll point out where they do. Say this skill tree. One thing I will say is I am dyslexic as fuck, and when I first read Elfborn, I thought it was just increasing my critical damage. Well, it was just increasing my critical, and then I thought, well, okay, well, I don't really need that. I didn't realise it was critical damage because I am not good at reading, apparently. So yeah, I tend to have, it's about standard for me. You want to have 120 into the Atronach, specifically for the Tactician passive, because when you roll dodge, you're going to set any enemy off balance who's near you. So even if that means you've just got to try and get away, or say if you roll and then do a proxy, it's totally up to you, but I mean, it's either way it's worth having because you're going to do a bit more damage against the enemy. Don't run anything into this. Any bomber that tells you you need Fermitage for this build, ignore them. I am sick of having other bombers telling me about how I need to put points into Fermitage. I can't even fucking pronounce it. Okay, the only type of dot that we're possibly going to get from the likes of, say, Eye the Storm. Bear in mind, a lot of people in Cyrodiil are Dark Elves like us. Burn effect. That's the type of dot you're going to get. Tether. It's not a burn effect. Sap Essence. It's not burn effect. Fucking Concealed Weapon. It's not burn effect. The only damage over time you might get is from Lotus Fan, which is getting nerfed anyway. So, to be totally honest, it's not worth it. I'd say ignore that and put more points into something else, like say Elfborn. Because the type of benefit you would see if you manage to actually get somebody to apply if you manage to get the burn effect apply to somebody, it's going to be so fucking minimal you won't even notice it. In all the in the years I've bombed, I've never actually seen a benefit to me using the burn effect, because half the time I never see it fucking proc, and that's me being totally honest. People can argue it toss all they want. I don't see the point in having it there. Okay, 71 points into resistance. Again, you want to try and stay as tanky as you can. We are squishy build. Again, and that's about it really for the CP points. So getting on to the gear in the inventory. So I mean, you've already seen, of course, Infernal Staff of Vicious Death, sharpened, weapon damage increase. We are running a Great Sword of Vicious Death. That's just when we onslaught bomb. When we do any other type of bomb, I have got 2 swords, which I'll put on instead. I've always got the points into both of the skill trees, because this is my main character anyway. It's up to you. Again, I'll have 1 Oblivion enchant, and I'll have 1 weapon damage enchant. You want to have one of the swords Nirnhoned. If I had the if I could, I would actually turn the Great Sword Nirnhoned as well. Because if you look at the damage, which is just below where it says Sword of Vicious Death, there's this is nearly 200 damage. Yeah, it's 200 damage increase. And that damage isn't just weapon damage, that's spell damage as well. So it's worth having. Not running poisons. I've actually seen some bombers run poisons. Just don't fucking listen to them. Grofgar, can't go wrong with. A lot of people probably don't really like it. It's great for keeping people out with stealth. You get a max magic bonus, the flaming increase. It's worth having. If you don't want to run it, everybody who does bomb, they're going to tell you the exact same thing. I mean, you can go Slime Claw. It's not necessary, but you can just turn around and hide Belogs on instead. Yeah, say 1 heavy, 1 medium. I mean, Belorg, I would say, is more if you are going to be running a Tether build, or if you're going to be running Onslaught. If you're going to be running a Destro bomb, to be honest, I like to stick to Grofgar, because having that extra AoE, I mean, that's 2,500 per second, on top of, I don't know what we're hitting. Let's have a look here. So, Eye the Storm, top of about 7,800. That's not including the buff we get from the the Assault Tree, which is here, which increases your weapon and spell damage by 10% whenever you take any type of resource, keep, whatever. So that would go up even again. But yeah, that's important to have. I'm running Mechanical Acuity. Some of yous might not like it, some of yous might not even know about it. I would have thought you would know about it, but it is craftable. It is in the Clockwork City, but to be honest, I have had the most success with this build. I mean, I've tried Spinners, I've tried Cover Alchemist, I've tried War Maiden, I've tried so many different sets to try and get it right, and I've always found that Mechanical Acuity is possibly the best set. Not only do you get weapon spell damage, you get max Magicka, max stamina, and then when you deal direct damage, you have a 15% chance to get mechanical vision for 5 seconds, okay? And that means that all of your attacks will be a critical strike. Okay, think about that for a second, because we've already got the Shadow Mundus. We are running the... fucking hell, I'm losing my train of thought, yeah. We're running Channel Acceleration, gets you another 10%, increase critical damage. Got the champion points here. Elfborn, increase your critical damage by 19%. Like, it's really worth having for this particular type of build. Not to mention, any crit you do, like, having your bomb to crit is important. Even this, fucking hell, Shadowy Disguise. As long as you make sure you hit the enemy from stealth, your next attack will always be a critical strike. Like, it... I would say it's common sense to run this type of thing. I've tried spinners personally. Don't get us wrong, I always like spinners, but I don't think it's as worth it. I don't, and that's just my opinion. But yeah, I'm running all this. I'm just running the max magic gear. If you want it on the chest and stuff, you could go with tri-stats. To be honest, you've seen our stats anyway. You don't really need them, but again, it's up to you. When it comes to jewellery, just running the spell damage enchant, arcane. And I've got 2 pieces where I'm running 2 spell damage enchants and infused. You could make the third one infused as well. You might literally just want to have a load of max magicka. Again, that's up to you. But this is how I type of run it. But yeah, the only time I would switch Grofgar is if I was running an Onslaught or a Tether bomb. When it comes to potions, I am running, I mean, you can just buy this from the vendor. This just gives you a movability while you're going in for a bomb. I've got a couple trash potions in that here. Essence of Spell Power you want to proc before you do the likes of a Tether or an Onslaught bomb. But yeah, for the most part, that is my build. That's how I've always ran it. If there is anything I've missed out that anybody wants to like ask questions in the comment, feel free. You probably noticed by my last video on that, I am back on AD. Staying over here. Just fancied going to a different campaign for a change. If anybody is on AD and they want to hit me up or they want to get involved with some of the stuff that I'm doing at the minute, I have got my own guild, Anubis Rises. You'll find this in the, what's it called, the freaking recruitment page, the guild finder. But yeah, we've also got a Discord there and stuff. It's just a starting off guild, but if anybody wants to get involved in it, feel free. I mean, to be honest, anybody can play. It doesn't matter if you're DC, whatever. The only rule I have, guild chat 1, AD only, pretty obvious. Caught in there, you'll get removed, but that's about it. This new campaign that's coming out meant to be so you can play on any faction for the 30 days, and that's meant to be replacing the 7-day. So we're more waiting for that. We're not as fussed if people start playing on different ones. Guilds are getting far too fucking strict at the minute for how dire situation this game is in. More people are leaving every day. There's not as much fun going on with it. So yeah, like, it's just more of a social type of guild where people can just have a bit of fun in that, especially in this fucking toxic community. But yeah, if you have any questions, hit us up, and thank you for watching. See you later.
Sometimes the bomb might explode without any warning. Sometimes the bomb might explode without any warning.